They say you can never truly escape your fate. Where am I? What is this place? Oh, it's a Vindicator. Okay, I've got to sneak past this guy. He could take me out in just a couple of hits. Okay, he's not looking. Oh, I gotta move. Okay, around the corner. Okay, there's the exit. Okay, I just gotta run. I just gotta get out of here. I made it. I'm free. Wait, what's that sound? Wait, no, please! No! I'm going to attempt to survive 400 days on my survival island in hardcore Minecraft, and I've got a bunch of things planned. So, as always, I'm the Coffee Fuel Genius, and let's get to work. First thing on my list is to explore the ocean monument that we conquered in the last video. Yes, I managed to take out the Guardians, but I didn't get hold of that sponge and gold. So I made myself a water-breathing potion, upgraded it with redstone, and then headed into the ocean monument. I jumped in my little boat and then sailed not too far away from the island, took a look at the gaps I made, slurped up my potion, and then I headed in. Upon entry, I was greeted by a bunch of enemies. Now, these guys are pretty easy to take on, but in groups, they can take you out, so I still have to play it kind of safe. I then used my Silk Touch pickaxe, chewed my way in through the sides, grabbed a bunch of sea lanterns because I just love them, and then I finally found the gold blocks, which made me super happy, and I got to work mining them up. Following that, with a little bit more exploring, I found the room full of sponge, and you just never know when you're going to need sponge. It's such a handy thing to have. So I dedicated some time to take all of the sponge in the ocean monument. I then chewed my way back up through the top and made my way back to my boat. Pretty successful. Goodbye, ocean monument. I then headed back to my survival island, stored all of my stuff in chests, and then I just went to have a look around, say hello to Sparky, check out the build, and then I headed up to my beacon to plan tomorrow's antics, which would be to get a full set of netherite tools. I'm surprised I haven't even got them yet, so I got a good night's rest ready for tomorrow. The sun blazed high in the sky and Operation Netherite Tools began. I headed over to my mob farm to see how much gunpowder I had collected, and well, to be honest, it wasn't enough to make enough TNT. I also didn't have enough sand either, so I headed over to a local island to get ready to mine up some sand. Yay! It was as laborious as it sounds. Yes, I just dedicated an entire day to getting sand, but it was worth it. But then nighttime struck and things got dangerous. I was ambushed by a bunch of enemies. Zombies, creepers, I didn't know where to turn. And then I got a bit too overconfident and almost lost my life, down to just 2 hearts in hardcore Minecraft. Can you imagine if we'd lost everything just 2 minutes in? Whew, that was close. I then flew back to my island and headed home. I then turned all my resources into TNT, and while although I had like 45, nearly 50, it just wasn't enough. I wanted to head into the nether and in one foul sweep, collect that ancient debris and make a full set of netherite tools. So I had a little bit of work to go, but it would be worth it. I swear, just stick with me here. Whilst I waited for more gunpowder to make TNT, I started on a side project, and it involved my villagers. Yes, I grabbed as many potatoes as possible because I wanted to start breeding them together. I wanted a community on my survival island. I'm finally gonna have more than 2 friends. I then made some more TNT and then creeped on the villagers to see if they'd make a baby. But I realized they couldn't make a baby because they didn't have enough beds. So I was a nice guy and donated my own bed, gave them a bunch of potatoes, and then finally, they made a little baby villager. Look how happy he is sleeping. I then made some more TNT because I need that for the nether to get that netherite. Look at me being a multitasker and stuff. Before I head to the nether, I just wanted to work on my villager community just a little bit more. So I took me and my buddy here over to mainland. To create a community of villagers, I need a bunch more beds. So for that, I went on the hunt for sheep. And oh my god, look how cute this little puppy dog is. And I eventually came across a bunch of sheep and got to work with my shears. After some serious wool collection, I then headed back to my survival island quite gracefully, actually. Look at that landing. And then stored all of the beds that I had made. I wanted to save them because I was going to build a big extension for the villagers. But not without my full set of netherite tools. Don't you worry, I haven't forgotten about that. So without further ado, I headed to my mob farm, made a bunch more TNT. Then I crafted some fire resistance potions, and then we headed in to the nether. Oh, the nether is still scary. I've got full netherite armor and an elytra, and this thing still is a massive pain in my butt crack. I took on the enemies that faced me as I flew around the nether, and then I got to collecting XP and nether quartz. Because, as we all know, collection of XP is my favorite thing. I then collected a bunch of glowstone because it's my favorite block. Don't ask. I then headed deeper into the nether, and then I wanted to make some space to, you guessed it, place some TNT. I placed rows and rows of this bad boy, lit it up, and watched the explosions happen. The first wave of TNT revealed a bunch of ancient debris. Let's go! I didn't think we'd be this lucky, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. I then continued blowing up the depths of the nether to find that ancient debris. We were on fire, baby. It was time to carry on collecting that ancient debris. I had collected a ton of ancient debris and thought now's the time to head back home. I quickly raced back home, taking on the enemies that faced me on my journey back. I raced back as quick as possible, no time to waste, into the nether portal, back home, so I could make those netherite ingots. I cooked up all of the ancient debris to make a total of 19 netherite scrap. Let's go! I think I had enough, so I headed back to my enchantment church to see if I had enough to make a full set of netherite tools. And well, you guessed it, I crafted a full set of netherite tools. We did it, ladies and gentlemen, finally. Now it was time to move on to our next mission. Whew, busy few days. After grabbing some sleepy time, it was time to continue with my villager community building, and for that, well, I'd need to build an extension. I also wanted to make a cartography table to take on that woodland mansion. But before we start doing that, it was time to grab resources. I grabbed stone, cobblestone, iron, and a bunch of wood, and then, you guessed it, made a start on building a villager community. It's so catchy. I made some finishing touches to the extension, added some stairs here and there to finish off the roof, and then got to work on the inside, placing a bunch of beds. I was really pleased with how the final build turned out. My building skills are improving, no lie. I then grabbed some sugar canes, nibbled on some chicken, and then finally crafted the cartography table, the vital ingredient to getting that woodland mansion map. Once crafted and then placed, I then assigned the lucky little villager the role of being the cartographer. But we had a long way to go, yeah. I'd have to do a bunch of trades with this guy. So it was time to get to work, get him potatoes, dealing with the villager. Oh, look, a baby. Dealing with the villagers. It's just a classic process. I grabbed a bunch of sugar canes and I just did a bunch of trades, non-stop. It was back and forth for a good few days. I wanted to upgrade the guy so I could finally get the woodland mansion map. I quickly noticed that the villager gives you emeralds for glass panes, and I had a bunch of those left over from earlier, so I headed back to him, made a bunch of trades, upgraded him so he was finally a journeyman, and you guessed it, I collected the Woodland Explorer map. Oh, I was so excited! The excitement didn't last long. The cartographer had informed me that the Woodland Mansion was filled with enemies that could take my life and end this survival island legacy. I told Barry the Golem to look over the villagers while I was gone. I may never return. It's time to head into the... Okay, so a baby villager escaped. Can you believe this? It was just about to get really dramatic, man. Oh, so I made a bow and managed to get the baby villager back into the community. Look at him. He's not even bothered that he ruined that whole hype. Anyway, back to business. It was time to head out and find the Woodland Mansion. During my expedition, I came across some beautiful sights. I had never really ventured this far from my survival island, and man, I don't regret it for a second. I saw so many things. It was amazing. I found this little black cat that I want to tame on my way home. Man, I was in my element. I searched for the Woodland Mansion for days and days. I even found some beautiful underwater areas that I mined up. This couldn't get any better. I traveled across biome after biome in hunt for that Woodland Mansion. After days and days, I finally located the Woodland Mansion. Oh, I was nervous. I set up camp for the night. Things were about to get serious. I waited for the sun to rise. It was time to head in. It could all end here, but nonetheless, I headed in. I found the entrance of the Woodland Mansion and tentatively entered through the doors. The maze-like corridors were intimidating, and my first enemy struck, striking him down. The Vindicator stood no chance. Slash after slash, I took his life. It was time to head deeper into the Woodland Mansion. I stumbled across an abundance of rooms, taking on enemies with every corner, but then I was ambushed by a large group of zombies. They stood no chance. With my full netherite tools, I felt like a beast. I found this little secret room with a couple of name tags and a bunch of gunpowder in. It was time to carry on, taking on the Vindicators and zombies with every corner I turned. I trawled through the halls, room after room, looking for loot, but I wasn't having much luck. I even found this sort of trophy room in hopes to find some lapis blocks, but once again, nothing. I guess I'd have to head upstairs to find more loot. I stumbled across their planning room and destroyed all of their plans. There was no way they were going to find me on this survival island. After taking down an evoker before he could summon Vexes, I drank up my damage potion, looted more chests, and headed deeper into the mansion. But then things got even tougher. I stumbled across an evoker who summoned a bunch of Vexes. They could take my life at any moment. The Vexes had cornered me. It was time to eat some food, regenerate, and head back upstairs to take on the enemies. I finally took out the evoker and the rest of the Vexes. I had to really think strategically about my next move. These guys could take you out in just a couple of hits in hardcore Minecraft. I then took out another evoker, and then I was chased by a Vindicator. He almost took my life, but through courage, I came out on top. I absolutely annihilated the Woodland mansion. I stepped over the dead Vindicator's body and into this room. It seems they were planning an attack on my survival island. Thank God I got here in time. I carried on searching the halls, hunting for enemies and looking for secret passages. I had my suspicions about this face above the stairs, and man was I correct. I'd located a secret room, but once again it didn't contain any loot, so I carried on hunting the halls. I found a couple of Vindicators, and instead of taking them out, I decided to capture them. I wanted to keep them here to punish them for what they did. They were going to capture my survival island and take out my villagers, and I wasn't allowing that. Whew, I was feeling pretty good. It was time to get out of here. Goodbye, Woodland Mansion. To be fair, you weren't even that bad. I've faced worse enemies. I'd collected a total of 5 totems of Undying. Pair that with the ones I've got at home, I've got a ton, man. I was feeling really good. It was time to head back home and tame that cat. Ah, look at me go. But then I kind of made a mistake. I did that thing where I get a little bit too confident, and then this, wizard managed to get me with poison, and for some reason I was just panicking. I don't know why. And then I tried to get milk from the cow, and then a couple of creepers came out of nowhere, and I almost died, and I was like, I've got to get out of here. I don't want to lose everything. So I managed to fly out and make my way back home. You know what? Screw the cat. Leave him back there. I finally made it back home and got a good night's rest. Serious few days. The next day, the villagers were absolutely delighted to see my return. I'm back, boys! And I come back with a bow. Look at that. Look, I'm such a nice guy. I brought you a bow to make you feel like more of a community. Anyway, I grabbed a bunch of food for myself and then wanted to make a start on my beacon. Yes, I wanted to change all of the blocks to diamond blocks. I didn't expect to have it finished today, but I wanted to at least make a start. So, as you know me and as you know the channel, I love my strip mining. So I headed deep into the caves to search for diamond. Yes, I went diamond collecting. And with this, you also collect XP. I don't know why I'm doing the voice. I even came across some emeralds. Look at that. I haven't seen an emerald block in my whole journey. I then came across a bunch more diamonds. More diamonds. Diamonds. I found so many diamonds, man. Loads. I'm talking loads. I then headed up to mainland to look at how many diamonds I'd collected, and to be fair, I'd got about 14-15 blocks worth, I reckon, which is a solid start to the diamond beacon. I then wanted to go and explore the end city loot, because I didn't really do that in my last 100 days. So I headed to the end, grabbed a bunch of ender pearls, and headed deep into the endless void. After flying around, I located the end city. Look how colossal this end city structure is. It's beautiful. I flew around the end city and chewed my way through the top to see if I could get some, and I was pretty disappointed with the first room. Just some gold and iron, it was lame. I then took on a bunch of shulkers, which were pretty tough. I took on the shulkers and managed to get myself a bunch of shells. These would allow me to make a bunch more shulker boxes. I then got into a situation where I just started floating, and I thought my life would end here. Look, I was just floating, and if I didn't kill this guy, feather falling's good, but it's not that good, you know? And then I managed to get myself in another situation where I was floating, and it was just non-stop, almost death experiences in the end. Oh, Minecraft, just give me a break. I then finally came across a room with some decent loot in. I managed to take the ender chest and the other chest stuff, and then kill a bunch more shulkers. Pretty successful in my books. It was time to head back. Whilst on my way back to the portal, I decided that I'd try and find another end city to see if I could find one with a ship, but I didn't have much luck, to be fair, so I decided to just head back and head home with chocolate from my last 100 days. Rest in peace, Chip. We haven't forgotten you, bro. I made it back home, but my little buddy didn't come with me. Oh well. I made a bunch of diamond blocks, got some rest, and then the next day, got to work adding the diamond blocks to the beacon. It was a solid start, and I was hoping if I had enough days by the end, I could finish the beacon off. Look at that. Pretty neat. I then crafted a bunch of shulker boxes with the shells that I'd collected from the end. I made about 5, 6 shulker boxes. Like, I'm pretty solid for storage now, I'm not gonna lie. I then crafted a cup. Wait, we have a cat now? I then crafted an ender chest, stuck it in the castle, then headed over to my villagers to plan my next steps. Yes, I wanted to make a bunch of paper trades, and for that, well, I'd have to make a sugarcane farm. So I collected a bunch of sugar canes, a bunch of resources, laid the ground for the area, and then got to work making the sugarcane farm. It was pretty straightforward. Couple of hoppers here and there, bit of sand, bit of water, bit of sugarcane, couple of pistons, then some observers, a sprinkle of redstone, and then you just put some glass around it to make it look pretty. I had an abundance of like random blocks, so I used them to build the casing, then I slapped a sign on the front, but I realized I could make more money through other trades, so I just thought I'm gonna have to upgrade this sugarcane farm if I'm actually gonna make some decent paper and decent emeralds. So I headed back over to the sugar farm, planned it all out in my head, and then got to work upgrading. I'd built a 3-tier sugarcane farm, which was pretty decent. It makes about a stack every couple days, which you can't argue with. This, with wheat, I'd be rolling in emeralds, man. I was feeling pretty good. Even though it had been a short amount of time, I grabbed the sugarcane out of the chest anyway, then got to work trading with villagers. I also made a bunch of lecterns and gave all of the villagers random jobs. So I had a bunch of like sort of enchantments that I could add to my stuff. Pretty good progress. Look, whoa, you're all staring at me. What a solid few days, man. We'd accomplished quite a lot on this 400 days journey. As always, I'll see you in the next one. My name's the Coffee Fuel Genius. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Have a great day. Peace. Do, 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 do.